Hello there, and happy birthday, Terraria. 10 years of this amazing and beautiful game. Can you guys believe it? Well, I kinda can't because, well, I haven't been here for all the time. I've only started around 2012, so I'm almost there for the actual 10 years of playing, but I still have quite a ways off. Well, why am I making this video? Because I wanted to do a little showcase of the build I have created for the Terraria 10th anniversary building contest. Because I thought that maybe some want to really find all the details in the post I've made, in the image I've made, and I wanted to do this in order to showcase some of the smaller details or some of the things that I have put in the build, some of the, and maybe to show like close-ups of different parts of it, especially because the image itself might not be the highest quality ever, so I thought that doing this would actually benefit those who wanted to take a closer look at the map itself, both by making this video and by putting the world download in the description down below. And for that, I've also prepared this little chest with a Rod of Discord, Sword Insignia, and Celestial Starboard, a set of armor and weapons if you don't want to stop spawns, and some tools if you want to just go ham on the world and do whatever you want. The world itself, I've chosen to make a large world, and this is the build itself. I did have some fun with T-edits, by the way, while making this. I guess, let's begin. The first letter, T, is representing the 1.0 version, as each letter represents one version in the history of Terraria up until today. Together with a small detail that I'll talk about at the end. So, 1.0, what did we have in 1.0? While I haven't played that version, I did look up different bits of 1.0 and I try to represent them as much as I can. The first two letters have no slopes in them, as back in the day there were no slopes. And you couldn't even walk up one block high bits. Well, I cannot really do that, so we're gonna have to deal with it. I've also recreated the 4 bosses that were in that version. The Two of Worlds, Eye of Cthulhu, King Slime, and Skeletron. Well, normal Skeletron, I almost said Prime. Also, King Slime did not have a crown back then. The little corruption biome, I tried to make just a miniature one per se, with a couple shadow orbs. And then we go down into the underground with a little cave system, a couple skeleton statues, and an old style of cabin. Which, this is how cabins usually generated back in 1.0 and 1.1. They look very misshapen and weird sometimes. Then, we have the two bigger underground biomes per se, which were the mushroom biome and the jungle, with the old version of the jungle shrines, which are made out of golden blocks and had the golden chest in them, then ivy chest, as those did not exist yet. Then we have the lava layer with another cabin there, and the underworld, which back in those two versions did not have a background. Well, it had a background that was like a gray background, sort of ash looking, which had veins of hellstone going through it. So you didn't actually have those really cool looking with lava pillars and stuff that we have now. Those look amazing, honestly speaking. And alongside the houses. Oh, one little detail I found out is that in 1.0 exactly, because this isn't based on the exact 1.0 version, it goes up to 1.0 point whatever it was before 1.1 came out. So in the exact 1.0 version, there were no obsidian houses, I believe. There were only hellstone brick houses. So that's a little interesting detail I have found out while doing some research for this little bit. Next, what we have is the 1.1 version. Well, the E, which represents 1.1, with the introduction of the snow biome, which was, I think, a 1 in 3 chance and became permanent in 1.2. The Frost Legion, which is added for a Christmas update together with Santa Claus, and the 3 mech bosses, out of which this is one of them, the Destroyer. And now, down below in the midsection of the E, we have the Twins, which is the second mech boss, and the Underground Hallow, as I thought this would be the best way to represent hard mode, by doing a bunch of caves with pearlstone bricks, with pearlstone itself, and filling them with crystals. Also, traps were introduced in 1.1 alongside wiring. So a bunch of boulders. Okay, I actually wanted to do this ever since I made the trap itself, but I didn't really want to refill it, even though it's very easy. Then, below this, we have Skeletron Prime, with its 4 arms, which look very derpy, but I didn't find a better way to do them. And the last part of the E is represented by Underworld Arena to fight the Wall of Flesh, which was introduced in this version, and whose defeat triggers hard mode. Also, this is the only boss I have recreated using actual blocks, because I thought, in my opinion, the Wall of Flesh is one of the easiest to represent in pure blocks, while the others I decided to go for more pixel art style because it feels a bit easier to do them that way. Now, on to the next letter, which is the 1.2 version, which introduced a new evil biome, the Crimson, together with its boss, the Brain of Cthulhu. Oh, and the solar eclipses were also introduced in 1.2. Quite a big part, with the Terra Blade being the final sword you could actually get, in the most powerful one in the game at that point. Then we have the Crimson Cave, going into a small kind of Crimson Arena. I don't know, what do they have a name, or is it just purely Crimson Cave? Good question. A bit of Underground Crimson, which then leads into the second half of the R, which is represented with the updated jungle. And oh boy, 1.2 did update the jungle quite a lot by adding one pre-armored boss, which was the Queen Bee, right here in her own hive, her little home hanging from the R, and 2 new hard mode bosses, which were Plantera and the Golem, with its little temple right in the middle, well, generally somewhere in the jungle, not necessarily in the middle of it. This version also saw the introduction of Chlorophyte as an endgame ore, together with its respective armors that you could make. It's such a good version, honestly. I still remember when it came out. It was so good. Next, the next 2 ones don't represent a big version or big changes, but I decided these 2 were some of the most important updates at the time when they were released. So I have decided to do 1.2.2 and 1.2.1 together with the update that introduced Fishron into a single little, well, not single, 2 different letters, which are the R, which has the Everscream, Sandtank, and the Ice Queen, little pixel art versions of the 3 of them. I just realized I said too little to really showcase them. Then, to get to the next one, you can either fly using the wings I put in the chest, or you can take the little minecart I put down. Above the minecart, if I could actually hop on my broom, is Duke Fishron, one of the most annoying bosses in the version it was introduced, as it was very erratic and it was flying around everywhere. But I still remember back when Flayron was one of the best melee weapons that you could get. Next, we have the Pumpkin Moon representation, which I did. I filled the letter with spooky wood and I put some pumpkin on top of it. Here we have the pumpkin, and in the middle of the A we have the morning wood. Now, these pixel arts, generally from close-up, don't really look that good, and I kind of made them to look somewhat good from a distance, but I don't think they're really the worst, especially for most of them, all of them being my first ever attempt at doing pixel art of any kind. Also, I repeat the materials a lot of times, and sometimes I even just put random colors in. I didn't actually respect the pixel art reference. The next update, which was 1.3, and the cultists aren't here. For some reason, the cultists are not always here, and I don't understand why. I changed the dungeon point so that they would spawn, but they didn't this time. And I think this part is the one that I'm the most proud of when it comes to just generally what I've made. A giant Moonlord silhouette. The only thing I think I would change is maybe make the head wider by just or like 2 more walls or something. But I really love the way this turned out. I wanted to convey that whole feeling of looming doom, looming darkness, a powerful entity behind the veil of reality, you know? And I think it kind of worked with the dungeon, and the entirety of the letter is made with the 4 lunar bricks, so that it represents the lunar event in and of itself, with the middle having a little Martian drone and some Martian conduit, because the Martians were also introduced in this version. And one of the more interesting bits, and I think the one that I'm most embarrassed about, and I would totally change if I would have the chance, is the introduction of achievements. And I've tried to do a little pixel art of the benched achievement. It didn't really... It's not really that great, but I tried to do my best on it, so yeah. The cultists are really annoying today. Oh, a little bit of expert mode reference over here with the expert mode icon that was introduced in 1.4, I believe. But it was the best way I found to represent it. Also, I think you can see the old placement of the R for some reason. Now, this one is this one has the 1.3.4, the version in which the Old One's army was introduced together with its PvE event, which I've done by having a little arena and pixel art of the TERRARIan crystal that you would put in and would spawn above. Now, there's also this little change that introduced the underground desert with all its perils, you know, nothing much. And at the bottom, because I didn't really have anywhere to put them, I've put the granite and marble biomes that were introduced in 1.3, even though this is the 1.3.4 part of the build. But yeah, I didn't really have anywhere to put it, as the Lunar Event kind of... I wanted to take the Lunar Event and Moonlord, I wanted to take the spotlight of that letter. the last letter, we're gonna start from the top, has the 1.4 update. I wanted to do a little desert, which I made it hallowed so that the Empress of Light and Queen Slime had a reason to be here. I tried to make a little oasis here, that's why we have the desert. We have the Empress of Light in its pixel art glory. In the middle, I made, and I've put all around the build, a bunch of gravestones so that we can make a graveyard biome. And in the middle we have Queen Slime together with a mini golf course, as it was introduced in 1.4, and I really wanted to have this little fun mini game represented here with a cup and a small course. But the main attraction of this, alongside the two bosses, is the Pylons. Oh. I don't know why it's spread. I had it on disabled. It's really annoying. Plus time is frozen. I don't understand it. Anyway, the Pylons, which I've made a little bit of section in the size of the letter so that each pylon has its representative biome on both sides. And as a last bit of attention to detail, I've made the Master Mode icon and the Journey Mode icon, which were two modes introduced in 1.4, out of which one was pivotal to making this build in and of itself, with the help of infinite items. Amazing change, and having a creative mode that still allows you to play the game, it's really good. And now, for the last tiny bit of detail, is Tmod Loader. I tried my best at creating the version of the Tmod Loader logo, because and that's also one of the reasons why I've titled this build A Never-Ending Journey, because I believe that even though Terraria, the official updates, are over now, once Tmod Loader 1.4 releases, we're gonna have infinite possibilities. People could be creating mods even 20 to 30 years from now on. Terraria's 50th anniversary, we could still have new content coming out because of mods. And that's why I decided to have the Tmod Loader be representative of 3 little dots at the end of the build to kind of say that there's more, but we do not know what's gonna come next. Also, I've used it in a version of the tree that's a little bit bigger to represent the 10 in the Terraria 10th anniversary. Now, if you want to see the full photo, I will also leave a link down in the description to the post I've made, and there you can click on the link that says something about attachment and a never-ending journey. Because I did add a little bit of writing in Paint, both on top and on the top and on the bottom of the build, and I did a couple little changes with that, but nothing too major. So yeah, this was pretty much everything I tried to put into the build, and I really hope you've enjoyed both the build and this video. And yeah, another thing I want to say is I also want to wish good luck to everyone else who enters the contest. This was an amazing experience. I finally started working on some sort of big building project in Terraria, which, while it took me a long time, it was also very rewarding to me as a Terraria player. And yeah, I want to say it again, happy birthday Terraria, and I'll see you later.